Come, gather round, and let me share a story that has echoed through the ages. It's a tale of courage, of unwavering faith, and of a power so immense it can carve a path where none exists. This is the story of a people's journey from bondage to freedom, led by a man named Moses. For 400 long years, the children of Israel lived as slaves in the mighty land of Egypt. Their days were filled with hard labor under a harsh sun, their spirits heavy with the weight of oppression. They cried out, their voices rising in a single, desperate prayer for deliverance. And God heard them. He chose Moses, a humble shepherd, to lead his people out of Egypt and into a land of promise. After a series of miraculous signs, the Pharaoh of Egypt finally agreed to let the Israelites go. What a sight it must have been! A great multitude of people, men, women, and children, leaving behind the only home they had ever known. They journeyed with their livestock and the few possessions they could carry, their hearts a mix of excitement and uncertainty. They weren't just walking away from slavery. They were walking toward a new beginning, guided by God Himself. By day, a pillar of cloud led them, and by night, a pillar of fire gave them light. They were never alone. They traveled for days, their spirits high, until they reached the shores of a vast, uncrossable body of water, the Red Sea. They set up camp, the sound of the gentle waves a peaceful backdrop to their newfound freedom. But their peace was about to be shattered. Back in Egypt, Pharaoh's heart had hardened once more. He regretted letting his workforce go. "What have we done?" he declared, assembling his army. 600 of his finest chariots, along with all the other chariots of Egypt, thundered across the desert in pursuit. The ground trembled as the massive army, a symbol of unbeatable power, closed in on the Israelites. Imagine the scene at the Red Sea. The Israelites looked up and saw a cloud of dust on the horizon. The dust cloud grew larger, the sound of horses and wheels growing louder and louder. Panic swept through the camp like a wildfire. Fear gripped their hearts. They were trapped. Before them lay the deep, churning waters of the Red Sea. Behind them, the most powerful army in the world was bearing down, ready to drag them back to a life of bondage, or worse. Their hope turned to despair. They turned on Moses, their voices filled with terror and accusation. "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to perish here in the wilderness." Their faith, once so strong, was now faltering in the face of an impossible situation. They saw no way out. The sea was too deep and the army too strong. But Moses stood firm, his own faith a beacon in their storm of fear. He raised his voice, not in anger, but with a divine calm that stilled the chaos. He spoke words that would be remembered forever. "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Then Moses turned toward the sea. Following God's command, he raised his staff and stretched his hand out over the water. A mighty east wind began to blow. It wasn't just a breeze. It was a powerful, driving wind that howled throughout the night. And as it blew, something utterly incredible began to happen. The waters of the Red Sea started to part. The deep, impassable sea split in two. The water piled up on either side, forming towering walls that reached toward the sky. And in between these liquid walls, a path of dry ground appeared, a pathway through the very heart of the sea. It was a miracle beyond comprehension, a road made where no road could ever be. God had made a way. With awe and renewed hope, Moses led the people of Israel onto the dry land. They walked between the walls of water, the ground firm beneath their feet. Can you imagine the feeling? Walking through the depths of the sea, looking up at the towering walls of water held back by an unseen hand. It was a journey of pure faith, a testament to the impossible being made possible. The entire nation, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, walked across the sea floor to safety on the other side. When the last Israelite had stepped onto the far shore, the Egyptian army, in their arrogant pursuit, charged into the same sea path. The chariots, the horses, and the soldiers thundered onto the dry ground, confident in their own strength. They saw the path, but they did not see the power that had created it. Once the entire army was within the sea path, God commanded Moses again, "Stretch out your hand over the sea so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen. Moses obeyed. He stretched his hand out over the sea, and as the morning light broke, the walls of water collapsed. The sea returned to its full force, crashing down upon the entire Egyptian army. The chariots, the horses, the soldiers, all were swept away by the powerful current. The mighty army that had caused so much fear was gone, swallowed by the sea. As the sun rose higher, the Israelites stood safely on the other side, looking back at the water. They saw the evidence of their miraculous rescue floating on the waves. The threat was gone. Their enemies were defeated. They were truly free. A great sense of awe and reverence fell upon them. They had not just escaped. They had witnessed the awesome power and love of their God. He had not only led them out of oppression, but he had also fought for them and delivered them from an impossible situation. That day, on the shores of the Red Sea, their fear turned into joyous celebration. They sang songs of praise, their voices ringing out in gratitude. They understood that when you feel trapped, with no way forward and no way back, faith can be the bridge. This story reminds us that even when we face our own Red Sea moments, those times when the obstacles seem too big and the situation feels hopeless, we are never truly alone. There is always a power greater than our problems, a love that can make a way where there seems to be no way. Just like the Israelites, we are encouraged to stand firm, to trust, and to watch as a path unfolds before us. Thank you for joining me for this incredible story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of faith and hope. Until next time, be still and trust.